Mindfulness is not something that was discovered by the Buddha. It hasn't been discovered by anybody. It's an innate ability that we have as human beings. I mean, I have a description that I use sometimes. To have the intention to be present with awareness and without reactivity. One of the core features of mindfulness, I think, is that element of non-reactivity within the practice of mindfulness itself. And really that is the ability, I think, to notice when we're grasping after things. So whether that's thoughts in our mind in the present moment, maybe a physical sensation or something like that. Or on the other hand, you know, really pushing away an experience. You know, I don't want that. I don't want to be feeling like that. I don't want this sensation in my body. I don't want this thought in my mind. It's an awareness of that that is really useful. And it's the knowing that this is what's going on. This reactivity is occurring. Mindfulness doesn't get talked about a lot in Zen. Now, there's a reason for that. When the Buddha was teaching about it, he was teaching about it in a particular context. The word that he used, which was sati, almost literally means recollection or remembering. Mindfulness is there in Zen, but what has happened with the Zen tradition is that over the centuries, there have been different ways of integrating the teachings of the Buddha into Buddhist practice itself. Within the Four Noble Truths, you have the last of the Four Noble Truths, which is Magga, or the path. And this really was the Buddha's way of describing how do we address the first noble truth, which is suffering? Well, we attend to particular things in our lives. Now, one of those things was mindfulness. What Zen has kind of done is it's really got the Eightfold Path, and it's sort of amalgamated all of those elements of the Eightfold Path into its core practices. It doesn't draw out mindfulness from the Eightfold Path. So I think people are surprised sometimes when they come into Zen. They go, well, when are you going to teach about mindfulness? And we would say, no, we're actively involved in activating mindfulness itself within what we do. Even in how we light the incense on the altar, how we get ready to sit and practice Zazen itself. And again, within our Zazen practice, mindfulness is there, but so is everything else. You're going to become mindful if you practice Zen Buddhism itself. You're not going to miss out on it, but you're not going to really sort of box it off and practice it as a distinct thing. In terms of Zen Buddhism being integrated into people's lives, I think the very first thing to do, and maybe it could be the only thing that people do, is to just have a daily meditation practice. I would emphasize Zazen practice, and by that I would mean Shikantaza practice. You know, a lot of people will come to meditation thinking that it's a very mental practice. But in Zazen, we really emphasize the posture, the physical posture. We don't see a dividing line between the mind and the body either. So we're not trying to distract the mind either with the breath or with a body scan or maybe focusing on a specific emotion. We really try and drop away all of that. And that does leave the mind very untethered, which can be difficult. But that difficulty needs to be addressed within the practice itself. We do things like walking meditation, for example. So we bring our Zazen practice into walking, and we usually walk very slowly, but essentially it's the same practice. It's the same thing that's going on, except it's the body and movement. And ultimately you can bring that into everything you do within your life. Whatever you're doing, whether you're working, you know, washing the dishes, hanging around with your partner or your kids, whatever. You can go step by step from that to the point where you're wearing robes like I am. So there are definitely degrees to which you could bring the practice of Buddhism and the practice of Zen Buddhism into your life. But to bring that practice into your life, to have a daily practice and maybe do it for 20, 30 or 40 minutes a day, I think would be one, and it could be the only way that you do that. And I think it would bring huge value into your life.